Savage. What's going on, Savages? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Snowflake podcast with me, Jeff Leach. Your father, your friend, your orator, your listener, your child, your mother, your teacher, your diligent student, and the guy who knocks on the door and goes, "Hey, what's going on? I saw you yesterday walking your dog," and you're like, "I don't have a dog," and you're like, "Nah, I saw you. It was you. It's definitely you. You're Kevin." "No, my name's Brian." You're like, "Oh, no, it's Kevin, isn't it? I saw you walking your dog. You got the poo. I don't have a dog." And then he just leaves mysteriously off into the night. I'm that guy as well. Thanks very much for tuning in for another episode. Good to have you back. As you can see, Daddy Jeff has had a haircut. That's right. I'm all fresh-faced and fancy-free, looking 5 months younger than I did previously, and it feels good to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. This is not trimming, by the way, because of our sponsor. This is trimming because I just needed to change it up. But our sponsors can help you trim that body hair, ladies and gentlemen. If you have got a hirsute body, gents, don't keep it like that, man. Trim it down. Get the LA look. Get the London look. Get a gap between your teeth and get some smooth pecs and downstairs areas. Your partner will thank you for it. Men or women, they're not going to want to stick that inside of their mouth, are they? Let's be honest. Manscaped.com. If you use code SAVAGE, you get yourself 20% off all orders. You get yourself free shipping and a free leather travel bag worth $50. Can't say fairer than that. And of course, if you're feeling a little bit stressed, I've had a very stressful day. In fact, so is my guest. We'll talk about that maybe in a moment. And you need to relax, then head over to Boundless Tech. That's bndlstech.com. Get the finest vape technology. They've got these new pens, the new not vape pens, little coil pens that you can smoke distillate with, and they're incredible. I think it's called the Turp pen. They're $15 or $20. It's like ridiculous, or maybe $30. They should be. $30, I think. But if you use code SAVAGE, you'll get 25% off every order. So you'll get them for about $17. And you can't say fairer than that. Amazing piece of kit. Check it out. Or you can get the Terra, which I like to smoke my flower with, or the CF720. That's their brand new one for smoking distillate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, over to my guest who's just cleaning their doggy's eyes.
What? I never would do that.
He had a little bit of... People love cleaning their dog's eyes at a certain point.
Well, this guy's eyes are always tearing.
They're always. It's because he's so happy. He's crying tears of joy.
So get me the fuck out of here.
Being
and I'm just
owned.
like, he's so cute. He's having such a good time.
He is, because he's going, my mum is actress, comedian, writer, and singer, Jackie Tohn. Too many fucking professions you're good at, first of all.
Thank you.
Selfish.
Really nice.
It wasn't a compliment. I hate you.
I'm almost fair. I have almost as many careers as you have members of the family. Like, you're the mother, the father, the brother, the guy you saw on the street. You're certainly, wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Oh, Glenn's sleeping.
He's having a little sleepy now.
He's a sleepy man. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of things. It feels really fucking good.
Is Glenn an emotional support dog?
He is, for when I travel. But I don't.
And the rest of the time he's not. The rest of the time he's just...
Well, I mean, what's weird about all that is, like, I think for some people it's very real. For a lot of people it's out of convenience. Mm-hmm. For me, it's definitely a combination.
Okay.
But whether he is certified or not, he is 100% an emotional support dog.
I mean,
the guy got
all
anxiety
pets,
and depression and all this stuff.
Pets an emotional support animal in some respect. I
think
stroking
so.
a cat or a dog.
That's what I'm saying. He really, and I've been, I go through it. And he is like...
He's been there for
There's
you.
never a time where I come home and it's not a joy to see him.
We don't deserve dogs.
No.
I don't think... There's a lot of animals we don't deserve. But dogs especially, I mean, they're just so like... What do you need? What's going on?
They're the best.
Yeah.
I love that there's footage of how much there's something in my eye right now.
I like how you suggested that he was only an emotional support dog when you're flying, as if like the rest of the time he's a dick to you.
Yeah.
It's an abusive relationship.
Yeah, right now I know he's talking shit right now. We can't hear him, but he's definitely talking shit.
On the plane in front of other people.
No, then he's emotional
like,
support.
You okay? You doing okay? What can I get? Do you need anything, honey? She's okay. She's going to be okay. Thanks for worrying. I appreciate that.
And then we get home and he's like, there's muffin tops.
You fucking bitch, I oughta.
And then on the plane, I'm like, he's nice to me sometimes.
Like a 1940s American TV home character, dad character.
Desi.
They're all a bit like, what was that guy who,
I
Love Lucy.
Mm-hmm. Desi.
So you're in a TV series, hit series, Glow, which is about to drop its third season as well.
Yep, third season, August 9th.
That's pretty fucking dope.
It's really dope, man. I think I've had an interesting journey because I've been acting since I was about 10, but I didn't really start consistently working until my mid-30s.
Wow.
And so I The argument can be made that I appreciated. That's right.
When you were a child, and then you learned.
From 10 to 34, I was a real shithouse.
Super
but I
average,
think there was super average, below super average. Super average feels like you're powerfully average. I wasn't even powerfully average. Okay. The point is, I wasn't really working much, and I think the argument can be made that this journey at this point in my life is a quadrillion times more exciting and validating
because you understand how to value it now.
I mean, I was up for all. We were talking about Nickelodeon a second ago before we started recording, but I was up for all those things on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. I was 14 and 15.
Yeah.
In that, all that. I had a spin-off show from all that called And Now This. It was like another kids sketch comedy show because that's what they needed.
That's what you needed is a follow-up of more of the same.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, that.
They brought that back now. They brought that show back, all that.
It literally was called And Now This. Okay. So, did they?
Yeah, they brought it back. Cute. Yeah.
And so they were doing all that. Then ours was And Now This. Shockingly didn't get picked up. But it was one of those things where there were so many little times it was almost my thing.
That's always the way, though, isn't it?
My thing.
I read that when Henry Cavill got Superman. You know, the way his PR agents and all the pieces were written was the unluckiest man in Hollywood finally gets lucky, and it was like I missed out on this role to so and so. I missed out on this role to so and so. It's like that's called being an actor.
That's called being an actor.
You miss out to someone on a role until you don't, also, and then you get a career. And it's
in that instance, though, it's like he was so close. He was so handsome, but he was like up for all the things. I had these random
like he ignored Henry VIII. He did Henry Tudor or The Tudors.
Oh yeah,
he was in that with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and he was in that series. He was a series regular in that. So it's like you had success, bro. It's not like
that is really funny.
Do you know what I mean?
I 100% do.
That's like you getting a huge movie next week, which is obviously going to happen. But then you pretending like, I've just struggled. It's my first
it's just
thing.
Crazy.
And you'd be like, what about those 3 seasons of that hit show you did?
It was kind of a weird thing though too, because there was the question of like, you know, there's like the Corey Feldmans of the world too, or these kids who are on the Disney Channel or whatever, and they have this huge burst of success, and then by the time they're like 17, it's over.
Singing really weird emo punk music,
and it's upsetting. But then there's who's that?
Corey Feldman. Yeah.
Is that even punk?
I got followed today by one of his angels. Apparently, Corey's angels, which are the 2 girls who play in the band, or 3 girls who play in the band with him. But good for him. Everyone's 100%. Been really mean about him, and I feel like he's...
well, I just mean because of what he went through. I mean, emotionally, psychologically, drug addiction, and there was like
literally and metaphorically, right?
And so all that shit that they went through, and I was able to sort of not...
sidestep that.
But it was like what felt like what not only felt like, but what was also devastating rejection probably saved me and allowed me to become... the self-hating person you see before you today.
To become a comedian. Basically,
that's right.
What's the split for you? Because I know that everyone out here, a lot of people seem to do both, myself included. So I'm not, disrespecting that. But I think there's always one that we lean more towards, or we say, "Oh yeah, I'm probably predominantly an actor, but I also do comedy." You really do all 3 things with, with great success. So what for you is there one that's more prevalent?
Well,
if you're honest.
Okay.
Not business answers like, I love them all equally.
It's crazy. 33.3% each. I think what it is that Glenn, you getting active?
You got it, mate. Yeah.
I think I have a little shake. I think what it is for me, I never wanted to be a road dog. Okay. Like I never wanted to do 5 shows at the Tulsa Improv. Like that was
alcoholism.
Yeah.
Loathe yourself every day.
Kind of. I always
jerk off in moving vehicles on the freeway.
That I don't hate.
Everyone's
not okay. But I felt like there was a time where I was like wanting to be a stand-up, and I love doing it in town, and I love musical. I love stand-up and musical comedy, but. That isn't my, I want to have a 1-woman show on Broadway where I do music and comedy.
You want Hugh Jackman. You want to be the Showwoman tour.
Yeah, the show.
He's doing the Showman, isn't he? That's what it's called, I think. And it's him just going like, I've got enough success and I love these things enough that I want to dance,
I just
sing,
want to do this
and perform. Yeah,
that's exactly what I want to do. But do I want to
Well, he did his final show before he died. He just wanted to do something happy, and he gave donuts to everyone. Blah blah blah.
Milk and cookies.
Yeah, milk and cookies. There you go. I feel like that would be a really great weekly show. I'd love to do that
just
show.
a joyful. That actually sounds really good.
Who's
like
going to commission
show.
it? Just literally
The
like
joy show.
it's just like happy joy, something like that. Some silly thing.
So here for that. It's not even funny. But so I felt for myself like I want to do these big stage shows and all this stuff. But the idea of like I look at like Whitney's schedule and Nikki Glazer's schedule, and I'm just like. There's such
casual name drops, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm just whether I'm friends, whether I know
two of the biggest females in comedy as well.
I'm not saying I know
Whitney.
I'm not saying I know them. I'm saying on their Instagram, I do know them. I'm just saying.
I just love a casual name drop.
It's not even a casual. My point was just to say how busy they are. Not that I know them or don't know them. If you look on their,
with you.
I love you so much. When you look at their Instagrams, it's like they're never in one place. It's like this huge. And that to me, that part of the business doesn't sound like a dream to me. I used to do. Yeah. Do you know about NACA?
No, what's that?
It's the National Association of Campus Activities. NACA, and it's and that's where a lot of comics started because
it's like college tours.
It's the college tours.
Oh yeah, we don't do those anymore.
I used to do that.
Okay.
And that was, as a musical comedian and a stand-up. And that's where I realized I didn't want to be a road dog. I was like, it was before Glows, before everything. In fact.
Just out there slaying 19-year-old dick every weekend.
Just bouncing up and down.
You didn't even like have
the
sex.
Lights
You
were
just
up.
made them lie down in a
right.
line. You just, like a dog dragging its bum across a carpet, you just
went
across all of them.
That was me.
And then clean yourselves up and then fucking threw a half-drunk beer over them.
That's right. And they all shared.
They called you the female Louis C.K.
They all shared. They actually just called me Louis. I had them just call me Louis. And then, but when I was doing those college tours, I was so boring. But those are really these weird one-off dates, and you'll just like fly to South Dakota, get there at 4 p.m., drive 4 hours because the airport is nowhere near the school. I'm alone in the middle of the fucking country.
When was this? What period of?
This was after.
We're talking like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago?
9 years ago.
Were they fun shows back then?
Some. It depends. Like some were amazing and some I would show up and they'd be like, oh, we booked you were supposed to be in the cafe, which by the way was not even cool, but it's actually been booked. So we're going to put you like in the student union and then there's like some kids playing D&D and a couple other kids really trying to study.
That's my crowd.
And
then
those are your fucking people. And then I'm trying to perform and they're literally annoyed.
Yeah. I've done show. I did a college show in London that was really like that. In a bar, like restaurant-y bar thing. I was like, did you even advertise this show as like a comedy show? And it was in the middle of the afternoon. They said, we're going to do it a couple of hours earlier. Because we got up there because of traffic. And they went, we can do it earlier. Great. And I was like, haven't you advertised the time? And they went, no, it's more just like the space. And, they say that there's comedy on in the afternoon and people just kind of come through.
Because I would always say when they would do that to me, you're paying me.
Yeah.
So why, like, it would be in almost all of the scenarios, I would say in more than 60% of the colleges I performed in, they would have been so much better off just playing music.
Yeah,
off
absolutely.
A phone.
Jukebox in the background.
100%. Like, you'd save a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Which for me at the time was good money and how I earned a living.
It's because more often than not, it's young people, aka borderline kids. Doing
the booking,
and they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They're literally called a student activities board, and they get these budgets, and let's call it however many $100,000 they get to play with, and if they don't, it's not their personal money, of course, but if they don't spend it that year, then next year they're not going to allot for that much money in the budget.
Exactly.
So they'll call these random people up and some of the people would be like, $30,000 for Ben Harper and this much, so they'll get some big acts too. Really?
I don't know who he is.
He's just this rad American singer-songwriter who's been around for a while. Or Ben Folds. They'll just like pay a lot of money to get a big act.
I know Ben Folds.
Great. Stop the show, everybody. He knows Ben Folds.
It's going to be okay.
So they'll pay good money for someone like that, but then I would come along and they'd, throw a couple shekels at you and nobody would be there. They'd be like, we ordered pizzas, and then there would just be like you and pizzas.
Yeah.
Hi, Glenn.
So devastating.
When did you get Glenn?
I got Glenn. It's funny. Glenn came with me to another podcast recently, but I'm not like the girl that brings her dog to podcasts.
You are now. I know you are.
Fuck, I am. Because
you,
he
Whitney,
was just,
Liza, you're all the same. Once you hit that level of success, you guys are all the same.
I was just saying about their Instagram. I'll never live it down. Oh, when did I get Glenn? 4 years ago in October.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's my number one best friend. And you know about his wet eyes, right? We talked about that.
He's got wet eyes.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry.
the other thing, though, you've just got yourself, a loving relationship. I don't know if you want to get into it. We're not going to talk about it. Can you even mention that you have a partner?
I can mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is it difficult having been a dog mum to then...
Well,
that's
I'll tell
quite
you.
a lot of personal space issues.
I agree with you. So we
The
just
question wasn't about the partners here. It was about...
got it. I love it. Took a left turn and it went in the right direction.
You were worried for a second.
I was a second because I was like, I don't want to talk. Well, I just think that
I don't want to talk about his beautiful big dick. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Stop it, Joe.
I don't want to.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's big and it's a dick. I think it makes it so weird when you talk. Like I know that now I'm talking
Do you
about.
let the dog be in
now
the room
I'm not
when
talking.
lovemaking happens?
No.
Thank goodness. All right.
No.
Do you let the dog sleep on the
absolutely
bed?
not. I do.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you
I
kick
do let
him
the
out
dog
when...
sleep on the bed, but he's not there.
Bow,
But
bow,
also,
bow.
he has a dog too.
Oh, okay. All right. So he's
Yeah.
a dog dad. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. I had a partner who just would let the dogs just sit on the end of the bed and watch. And whenever I'm looking at pornography, for
I hear
instance,
that's
on the internet...
kind of common, yeah.
And I'll I like an amateur video because I think it's something a bit more honest and pure about
Sure.
it, right? It's just two people making some bad choices.
God bless.
Exactly, Glenn knows what I'm talking about.
Well, he thinks there's something somewhere. And he's
Just got he's looking
growling
at the
it.
lights flashing. But then you got but then sometimes you'll be watching and the camera will like pan up and there's a dog curled up sleeping in the pillow where these people are fucking, and I'm like, that dog doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be here.
No, he doesn't want any part of it.
It's just weird shit. It's weird shit. And I wondered if, once you get into a relationship again, you go like, oh, I've got to like...
Stop it, Glenn.
He's just barking.
But I don't know what he thinks he sees.
It's the flashing lights on the front of the computer. He doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, he doesn't know what's going on. He better not derail this podcast.
He's
It's my
gonna be
time.
right.
Hey, Glenn, it's my goddamn time to shine.
There you go.
Once
See,
he
it's
sees
all right.
nothing is
He's
there.
sniffing
Okay.
as well.
God, ruining our time
But
together.
I don't know why people do that. How
No,
can
it
they
is
do
a
it?
little bit disturbing. It is a little bit disturbing.
You're
No,
sociopathic.
well, he has a dog too, so the dogs are out of the room for that.
Okay.
But as far as like personal space issues and stuff, it is weird because he and his dog, they have like a fully codependent relationship. His dog loves him so much that when he goes to work, his dog goes out the doggy door and just stays outside all day waiting for him to come home.
Yeah, it's weird shit.
It's heartbreaking, but it's also like that's cute, and they have they're
He's
very
like
close.
that famous dog at that Japanese railway station that's waiting for his owner to come back, and then he waited there every day while his owner was away, and then he died. The dog died, so they erected a statue of the dog waiting at the thing. It's a very famous story
It's
about a
heartbreaking.
Japanese dog.
Did you see the chicken run to meet its friend at the bus?
No.
Oh, this is key. I haven't eaten. What a fucking brain I have. I haven't eaten chicken in a couple months because Kate Nash, who's a
musician.
Yeah,
I know Kate Nash. She's from my
Glow.
hometown,
She
from
is
Harrow.
Oh wow, but she's on Glow.
Oh, she's on Glow, is she?
Yes,
Really?
yes. She's amazing on Glow.
She's acting in it.
One of the stars of Glow. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes, man.
Wow, that's so funny. Okay.
That really is.
She,
And she's an amazing musician and rock star.
We had two very good friends that used to put on lots of gigs that she would perform at, and they sort of helped at the beginning of her career. Ross and Pierce Grady. If you say,
I'm gonna ask her.
Ross and Pierce Grady were asking after you, she'll freak out and go, how the fuck do you know Ross and Pierce Grady?
She really will.
Yeah.
Great day. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
But so Kate showed me this video. She's a vegan. I'm not.
worst.
I'm not a vegan.
I don't force that shit down there.
She didn't force it down my throat. This wasn't even a vegan video. She just literally was showing me a video.
From my hometown, it's all right.
She wasn't even saying be a vegan. She was saying, how cute is this? And it was a chicken.
She was being sneaky.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a chicken named Frog who has a best friend whose name, I don't know, is Katie or something. And the mom is like, every day Katie goes to school. Frog sits by the front door, waits for her to come home. When Katie comes home, Frog runs out the doggy door, down the driveway, and meets Katie at the bus.
Nice.
It's the cute. But then
Is it a dog or
it's a chicken.
No, but a chicken waits for her daughter.
For the woman. The
For Katie.
chicken waits for Katie. But what was amazing,
And is Katie a kid?
yeah, she's like 12.
Right, so when she gets on the school bus, there's the chicken waiting.
And now I haven't eaten chicken because I feel like it's eating Glenn. Like now I'm like, a chicken is smart enough to love and miss its best friend. I can't just eat.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't just eat
That's
chickens
true.
now.
I mean, but all animals
I know it's a
that
disaster.
then you go like everything has capacity for empathy
for love
and
and
love and all that.
Has
But they're
parents.
delicious. And also this is like the the hierarchy of the animal chain. An animal food chain.
I think a big part of it, and again, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, but I think a big part of it is like the treatment.
If you were like
when you get into
post-apocalyptic world and he was the only thing left to eat, and you were going to die, there's a point at some point.
Yeah.
Where you'd eat Glenn.
I would eat Glenn.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You feel bad. You cry the whole time.
You want to hear the flip side of that? If I died in my apartment, Glenn would eat me.
Like that.
Mm-hmm. Glenn would eat me.
We have to. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. I have to remember to put that in a short film. That's funny. Okay, give myself notes on my podcast. Sure.
Just write it down.
I think there's a point where we go like, look, certain animals are adorable as fuck, but all of them, push came to shove.
100%.
We were 100% just.
But I think we're not even at push comes to shove. I think there's just like a whole. I don't know nearly enough about it, so why I'm even commenting on it. But just the humane treatment. I think, But of humans and animals, and just it's a disaster.
Yeah, I think like giving animal a good life. Like look, that chicken is having a great life, just fucking running around, meeting people at the bus. You know, she's got on fire. Oh, I've got a best friend, Katie. Blah, 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 blah. But then, boom, when she gets old enough. Katie's going to take that head, isn't she, one day? She's just going to fucking pull that neck out
Katie
and then take it off.
I think Katie's probably just going to be friends with chicken until he dies.
Yeah, I mean, and then she's going to eat chicken.
Frog, no. You think?
Why not?
She can't.
Yeah.
But that does. If Frog dies of natural causes, Katie can eat him, but she can't kill Frog.
I mean, you're not the boss of Katie.
I'm not the boss of Katie.
The accent that you suggested for her mother would make me feel like she's a farming girl.
They are farming folk.
Yeah, so one day Kate's going to come home and be like,
and I also feel like they do.
My best friend, but when I turned 18, I had to take his head.
I think they all. I think they do eat the rest of them.
There you go.
Fair. Who's behind you there? Dan Lloyd is a savage.
This is Dan Lloyd. He's one of my. He's my top patron at patreon.com/Savage Snowflake. Thanks for the segue. And so I drew a picture of him. I put him up there. I drew him as a centaur, and he has a little Savage Snowflake podcast shield and some rippling muscles.
Rippling muscles.
Yeah. There you go.
Good job.
I don't know if that's true to form. I'm pretty certain he doesn't have the cloven hooves of a horse.
You don't know. You've seen Dan from the waist down?
I mean, let's not talk about that on the podcast.
Okay, fine. I don't
want to get myself in a situation revealing too much info.
Sure about Dan.
Yeah. So we haven't worked out if any of those three things is actually your favorite.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought it back.
College tours.
Well, I just was saying I love. It's really a hard question because my friend Elizabeth's mom always says to her, "How's Jackie the Entertainer?"
I like that.
Which makes me laugh so much. And then on my taxes a couple years ago, I couldn't figure out what umbrella to put all the things under. I thought of Jackie the Entertainer. And that's my occupation on my fucking taxes, which makes me so happy. Anyway, that's the long-winded answer to say that I
just put Renaissance man.
Of course, look at you, perfect at everything. I don't know how to answer the question of what one is my actual favorite. I would have to say, maybe this will answer it. My number one goal in life is to be a TV star like Fran Drescher was on The Nanny. Or like, not a great example because she can be rough and it says terrible things, but like the Roseanne era. Like when that was like have a comedy in front of a live studio audience. If we can still do that,
shit in about 30 years time.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
But I just feel like
which one are you going to go for? Which race are you going to go after?
I feel like because I'm Jewish, it would be the safest right now to just say Jews.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But specifically like Hasidic Jews, Orthodox Jews.
No, maybe like because I'm Reformed
Israeli
again.
Jews?
Safe though again. You go. Safe to also say Reformed because I'm Reformed.
A Reformed Jew.
I'm a Reformed Jew. Like,
what does that mean? You don't follow any of the tenets
that were like Jewish. Like,
it's cultural Judaism rather than religious Judaism.
100%.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Where I don't really.
I got that. I got cultural Greek Orthodox, and
Oh yeah.
My mum's a Romanian Macedonian, so I feel very like, hey, food and lots of people and people arguing, but they're not. It's just a heated debate.
That's just how they talk.
A drink. When you drink it, it burns for so long. That kind of vibe. But then I don't go to church and
same.
And
I'm just so undeniably Jewish that it's just like
it's so good. That's so good for your industry. I think it
do
still helps to
like
be
it.
Jewish in the
You
industry,
think?
right? I think so.
I mean, it didn't really help me till a couple. I mean, it didn't even help me. Maybe not. I think it's like, I think certainly being a white person, that.
Used to be good.
No, stop it. I think that helped for all that time because I'm
only half joking, by the way.
I understand.
Absolutely, the castings have dwindled to very little.
They've dwindled to make room for underrepresented
Absolutely.
people.
Hey,
But
I'm
yes,
happy that everyone's getting a fair shot.
I have an interesting story about that, which is so kooky, but also it's pretty name droppy. But I was doing a really small part in Chips, the movie Chips, that with Dak Shepard written and directed.
Dak Shepard, yes.
And
what's his name? Michael
Pena. And this is a story about Pena.
He's a nice guy.
Best. So I'm working on the movie, and I met Michael Pena when I was 15.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
I said he was a good guy, but
no, nothing about that. Nothing about that. So I met him when I was about 15. And we were, I was on a pilot, and it was me and a best friend and all our friends at school and the parents. Everybody was a white person.
Okay.
And Pena was friends with like one of the kids at the school who was like one of the girls' love interest. I was 15 years old. And I met him in backstage, and then Pena became real famous. That show never got picked up. I sort of watched his star rise.
Was he your age? Was he 15 as well?
He was a couple years older. Maybe he was 18. But it wasn't, thanks. It wasn't even like any of that. It was just, we all hung out. There was a crew of us kids hanging out. Goldberg, the goalie, randomly was there. Just that opened a folder in my brain. Okay. So we're all hanging out. Anyway, never really saw him again. And then all these years pass, and we're doing Chips. And I say, you're never going to remember this, but I did it. And he goes, yeah, no, of course I remember that. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, that pilot you did when you were 15. He said, I remember I had a moment. He was already an actor. And he goes, I remember I had a moment, and I looked around the room. I was the only brown kid in the room. It's sort of more of a story for him to tell than me. It's even privileged as a white person to even be telling this story, but okay. He said, and I looked around the room at everybody. And I don't think it's privileged.
You're just repeating a story. It's
great,
nice.
Thank you. And he looked around the room, and he was like, oh my God, how am I in this? How am I going to do this business?
Yeah.
And he was like, to me, because I was me and this other girl were the stars of the show. And he's like, I looked at you and I remembered you like you were the star of this show. And we were at this live taping and it was so cool. And I just was like, I'm a brown dude. Like, how am I going to, this is like, what am I doing?
I'm
just
going to have to wait until she at least turns 16.
You piece of shit. But anyway, I just think it's interesting. And now there are
the tables have
so
turned.
there's just so many more opportunities for more kinds of people. And
most of the auditions I did this pilot season were resubmitted as well for, we're now just looking specifically for diverse actors. I don't know why they just say like not white guys.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a terminology attached to all of it,
which
makes it feel a little false.
Because I'm not going to lie, a lot of people won't be honest, but absolutely it's super frustrating being like, I can't get a fucking casting, and when I do, it normally gets resubmitted for brown guys or black guys or people of color. That super sucks. But the other part is like, I'm glad about the
you
addressing the balance. But I think it's swung slightly the opposite way now, where it's just like, you couldn't possibly have. That's why I cut my hair, because how many roles for tall white dudes with long hair and beards? Like, there's like one pirate show a year, maybe, and one cowboy project, and beyond that, motherfucker, you're out of luck.
100%.
So I'm like, I'll just be the douchebag white guy, or the best friend, or the inoffensive white guy in the background.
Right?
Like, hey, what's up?
It's a hard pill to swallow when we have to say like, oh God, what we're experiencing now, which is super frustrating and can sometimes be not demoralizing, but just sucks.
Is something that people have been
for decades. This is forever. Like there was it just wasn't even. Yeah. So it's
it's a catch-22 because I don't want to appear like insensitive to the decent part of the progression.
But that's also your experience,
like, dude,
and you're an actor and a comic, and you want to work, and you want a job too, and you're allowed to be frustrated by that. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah, it's interesting. So he remembered that show. And he
remembered
remembered
crazy.
you.
And I just was like, you're never going to remember this, but I met you when we were kids. And he was like, I 100% remember that. He's like,
he said he couldn't understand how he was going to succeed being a brown guy in the industry.
He just was like, he was like, I remember you because I had like a moment in that room sitting with all you guys. And I looked around.
That fucking white bitch. I've been working for 3 more years than her, and she's the lead in this shit. How the fuck did she get that? And you're like,
And then
I'm just doing it.
Yeah, I was like, it's crazy. It's honestly been so hard for me. You have no idea the trials and tribulations I've had to overcome. You don't know me. And then I left.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Are you friends now?
No, I mean, I did a couple days on the movie, and he's such a cool dude. But it was just,
But it wasn't like, hey, we should get some food sometime.
No. We had a great time while we were there. Literature.
He's a musician as well.
That's a great British word. It is.
I've never met him, but he used to be a drummer in a band, I think. And I never met him, but I stayed in an Airbnb with his buddy Rich, who was the guitarist in this band that they were in together.
Oh, huh.
And there's a big poster of them on the wall, and it's very 90s band, like leaning into the camera, fisheye lens. You know
but
what
it
I mean?
wasn't in the 90s when they made it?
That'd
be amazing. You're like 2
it
years.
probably was, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was like 2 years ago, but the poster
No, it was when
90s
he was like
as
very
fuck.
early 20s.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, a musician as well.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. What about Mark Maron? He's pretty cool.
Mark Maron's cool. You know, Mark is...
Do you hang out much on set? Do you actually get
on
much
set,
interaction?
Yeah. I mean, not certainly outside of work. Maron's an interesting dude because...
And he shreds.
Oh, he shreds. Maron's an interesting dude because he is... I guess the preface doesn't make sense. He's an interesting dude because of this. Maron is so himself. It is like... If I could be that unapologetically myself, like if I would say...
Well, you will. It just takes time. He's also quite a few years older than you.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel like, I guess back in the day when he was unapologetically himself, and he even says that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. Like, he was like putting on airs to just be this fucking guy.
Comic,
yeah, and now, like, it's like you'll say to him, like, morning, Mark, and he'll be like, it's a lot. And you're like, all right, in the time it took you to say...
So what you're saying is he's now unapologetically a miserable cunt.
No, he's not, but
and
it's like...
when you're young, that's not charming, but when you get a bit older, being a curmudgeon is actually kind of attractive, isn't it?
Kind of, but we do all love him. Like, everyone gets along. It's not like there's any... But
I've met him. He seems like a very charming guy. We've had a nice little conversation in the Comedy Cellar once when we were both, doing shows there at night, and he was very cool. And so I know he's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
But there is something that, like, about it depends on social climate. It depends on the age and the race of the person, the gender of them.
Sure.
Different things are charming and sexy almost and captivating in a person at a different point in their life. So the arrogance, or not arrogance necessarily, but the self...
That's an appropriate word.
The level of self-comfort...
Confidence, sure.
Even to be a bit brash and rude in a 20-year-old man is really quite abhorrent. It's not nice. In a 30-year-old man... It's testing. But once you get 40, 50, like when it's a 50-year-old with a little bit of salt and pepper, it can actually be a bit like, I like him. He's so straight up. He really tells you how it is. Whereas 20 years before, you'd be like, what a
fuck
twat.
that guy.
Fuck
yeah,
that.
Everybody's like, fuck that guy. It's funny because, I mean...
Humor in women as they go into their 30s and 40s is super sexy.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of men are intimidated by... I'm personally not, but a unique case if you're a performer already.
I totally agree.
20s, guys don't want girls to be that funny in their 20s. They're like, oh, God, babe, that's what I do. I do the funny.
I'm the one who's
I do
funny.
the funny, you do the hub. And then when they get 30, they're like, oh, please entertain me.
Yeah, of course. What are you going to do? Be in those
Selfish
two rocking
boys.
chairs looking over and like wishing she was 20? Like, you're going to have something to talk about.
I mean, there's plenty of those in LA, aren't there? Men who do that.
No shortage. But Maron's great. We all get along with him. I mean... I can imagine it being at least vaguely challenging to be... I mean, he's Chris Lowell, who plays Bash, is there often, of course. But for Mark to be like this sort of, not really patriarchal, but like the only...
The overseer.
Yeah, right? The only man. And there's 15 of us women.
Yeah.
And we get chicken heady as fuck. Like, we're so excited to see each other. We all have jokes and bits. And we're there for 15 hours a day. And we're getting weird and stupid and dancing and hot. It's a lot.
Just describing it is making me feel slightly anxious.
It's a lot.
And I love the company of women. I grew up around around more women than men in that respect.
But with him, the difference is with him, like, we're not trying to include him and have him play. He's not. It's not like, Mark, come be with us. Like, we can see that he's like reading a book over there.
Got slippers on. He's got a cup of coffee.
100%
Like,
cigar.
Every now and then he rumbles over top of his glasses in your direction, and then just carries on. Sudoku.
100%. It's so funny. I say Sudoku, and no, I think it is Sudoku.
It's Sudoku. Yeah.
And I say Sudoku too. I can't get it right.
Let's start a new one.
Cares?
Let's start a new game.
Sudoku?
It's basically Sudoku, but it's upside down.
Oh, that's
Sudoku.
cool. That sounds perfect.
And you have to work it out upside down.
I can't even do it right side up. I've never
Some
done
might say it's the game improved, but, whatever.
Right.
It's fine.
Some might say any of it is... That's it. No, thank you.
Yeah. So he'll have a little look over. You don't try and get him involved. I'm glad the show, there was a bit of a tentative moment where it wasn't certain if it was coming back. And then it did.
Yeah.
And now it's got a third season as well, which is pretty fucking awesome. Do you think kind of what's been going on in the world and readdressing of balance of, women and people of color on television versus men and people with disabilities and trans people and, different LGBTQ community people.
Representation,
representation. Do you think that was part of the reason that the show gained a second wind of traction?
I think so. So in the first season, I don't know that it ever wasn't getting picked back up. I think it was a weird...
I heard Mark Maron on Adam Buxton's podcast talking about it, and he sort of said, I don't think it's going to get another season at one point. And this was obviously prior to season 3.
That's so funny, because we never... That's interesting. Marin obviously has different information than we do, but I talk often to Allie and Betty, who are the two female leads. And in between season 1 and 2, we never really felt like it wasn't going to get picked back up. It was very much, it wasn't a negative tilt. And I think that's very much Marin's brain to be like, I don't think it's going to happen. But there was no negative tilt. It was just, we didn't know. And since Netflix doesn't release analytics and numbers and ratings, we're just like, well, we don't even know what the viewership was.
They're like the Donald Trump of TV networks.
It's crazy. I mean, no, I love them, but I couldn't say.
But you want to see their tax returns.
Well, I want to see if they were born in this country. I want to see.
Is Netflix really your name?
I can't. It's terrible. I can't. Okay.
Or is it Netflix Gugu? That's what I think.
Is it Netflix Hussein? All right. So I just feel like because they don't tell you how many people are watching your show, you can't go like, well,
it's hard to gauge. Yeah,
there's 10 million people watching. We're obviously getting a second season. We have no idea what's going on. So then we got a second season, and then August 9th, season 3 comes out.
Boom,
baby, boom.
What's the development of your character? What can people get excited about that you're allowed to reveal?
I can't say much, but season 3 is so awesome. So season
that's a
1.
boring answer. Let's move on to another question.
Great.
Yeah, no, if you're not going to tell me anything.
Understood.
We can't go through another 3 minutes of you being like, but it's great and there's lots of exciting stuff. No one gives a shit. If you can't tell us anything, it's okay.
I can tell you that...
Here we go. Now we're talking.
I can tell you that we're in Vegas. Okay. So in season 1... these girls are trying out for this thing and they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
In season 2, they have a TV show. They're making it. Something happens at the end.
In Vegas.
That's right. Season 3 is live in Vegas. And it's basically, I can say this, which is not a spoiler, but it's sort of, you get to watch what happens to these women performance-wise and emotionally and their friendships and the whole thing when they have to do the same exact thing every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice a day. And what that looks like. And
you must have experienced that as an actress. You must have done theatre shows or Broadway or something like that where you've gone, oh Jesus, I have to just
I think it's a little different.
Day.
So like in the Glow world, these are like this crazy ragtag group of misfits who are like a bunch of different baddie women who are not theater people, who are not ready. Where like if you're raised, not that I was raised doing Shakespeare, but if you're raised doing Shakespeare and you're doing it 8 shows a week, every week, like you know what that is. Mm-hmm. You find different beats and moments and things. But I think the women of Glow...
I disagree completely.
You just think you go into robo mode?
I think most performers, when they're doing, especially when they're doing like a run for a period of a few months, it just slips into, after a while,
well,
and you can tell, you can see the point in it. When it's like, oh, and now they're just going through the motions.
I think it's a little bit of both because I did a play in New York for years and we did 8 shows a week and it was like a sort of silly, rompy, raunchy comedy. And sometimes I really was and it was called Schindler's List. Thank you so much. Life is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was the girl in the red coat. When I was doing it, I sometimes was in robo mode, but I also was sometimes very much like I would get off stage and because it is so... in your brain and so in your body, you don't have to think about it. I would surprise myself with the things I would discover. There was like little moments of improv and little moments of, because it was much looser.
You might be a better actress than other people that I've met doing those kind of shows.
Yeah, because
I've had people just come on and go like, yeah, just like it's hard to be enthused about it when it's literally the 300th time you've done it.
I would agree that it's
do it
hard to
every
be
single day.
enthused about it, but I think you can also
Still be good.
Yeah, still be good and find stuff, and yeah, I think so. I forget what the initial question was that got us into that. Oh, about Glow
about
and the girls.
understanding
Yep.
the duality between your own personal acting career and whether there's been moments where you've had to go through the cycle repeating a performance and then your characters in the
and it
in the third
goes
series.
interestingly for the ladies when they have to do the same thing over and over.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched it yet.
Great.
Have to watch the show. I've heard
I think
incredible
you'll like
things about it.
It's really well written.
I'm very particular. Like I like to finish a season of something and then like finish things off. So I'm watching Sabrina.
how is it?
Great. I'm actually watching it because my friend Michelle Gomez is on the show. She plays the Bride of Satan.
Oh,
and she's coming. She's done lots of things. She's John Wick and characters in that and all sorts. She's a wonderful actress, Scottish lady playing an American. And she, I hadn't watched that either.
Right.
And she's coming on next week, so I was like, I should really watch some of it.
Maybe you should have done that in a different
I know,
order.
I should have done it the other way
So
around.
you did Glow first, then you would.
But I already knew you were funny. Like I already know what your
Fair.
you know. I with her, Michelle, we've never really had a long conversation. We met in an airport lounge and started
How
chatting.
fun is that?
Yeah, and we just have
Why
like a
not?
text relationship. But whereas I've met you properly in a social environment, and you're funny.
We celebrated a baby together.
Yeah, we did. Not ours.
Oh my God.
Not ours.
We
It
finally
wasn't Glenn.
celebrated.
Look at how
that
he's
cute?
stuck. He's licking his little leg. You can't see that on the camera. He's licking his little leg. And when I went Glenn, he just stopped and was like, oh, what'd I do?
He is nice as hell, you guys. I can't even bear it most of the
It's
time.
very adorable. Doesn't molt either. Doesn't really molt very much, does he? But yes, with her, I think I might have to talk more about the show specifically.
Right.
Because I can't chat to her about, curmudgeon, sexy old men or,
Sure.
or child
Or
acting
our-
or Michael Pena remembering how white you were.
So white. So white.
Leader of the whites.
No.
That's what they call her. The leader of the whites.
And when
in
I
Hollywood.
was 16, so I was a powerful 16-year-old.
Yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes,
Blonde
so
hair.
Aryan. Back then you were.
Yeah, but I was very Aryan.
Crazy Aryan.
It's hard to. Oh, I was thinking what you were going to say.
With your music, you've done both comical and serious music. Yeah. It's not all. I always found that friends who are musical performers in the world of comedy find it very hard to transition between the two. Or a bigger example is someone like Joji on who was Pink Guy on YouTube and is now Joji, who's a serious artist, and he had to completely kill one side to be able to have the other exist.
I have to look it up.
Thing.
I don't know the reference yet, but
just the pop culture reference of it. But do you have to select periods and go, oh, I'm going to be funny with my music now, and then it's like, okay, let me put that aside and let me now release something that's serious.
I think it is really hard. I'm in a thing right now where I'm creating a bunch of stuff. So I have a writing partner, and so I'll say that stuff about the writing in a second. So let me answer your question. Yes, I think it's really hard. Mostly for me, I was truly making music and putting out albums from like 2000. I was like just putting out EPs and just trying to be a musician from like probably 28 to like 33. And I had a publishing deal, and I was writing songs for other artists and working with rad people and Alan Stone.
Amanda was telling me.
I used to write with Amanda.
She's like a legit musician as well.
100. And I was like being a singer-songwriter and writing in these incredible sessions with these writers and performers.
But then you and Jess used to do your comedy duo stuff together. Yeah.
But Jess and I didn't even do comedy. We did like covers. So it was like funny and silly, but we didn't write funny songs.
Okay,
yeah.
The performances were funny,
we were Power Fox and Ponymaid.
Yeah, I've watched the videos on YouTube.
Yeah, and that was fun as hell. And the thing was, it's like even that would be a good mix of like we could have become like a fun pop duo from that.
Yeah, Flight the Conchords, Ladies Flight the Conchords.
Yeah. I didn't even mean comedy. I meant like just a pop duo.
Oh,
like
okay.
Jess and I could have been like a guitar, ukulele. We looked just alike. We had like bangs and Zooey Deschanel hair from all those years ago. And we could have been something. I was just gonna say we could have been contenders. But it was never, when I got into the songwriting game is when I sort of took a left turn and I realized I was missing stand-up. I was missing comedy. I was missing acting. And I was like, just like you were saying when I got here, like there has to be a focus.
Yeah.
And I love all these things. And ultimately in the dream project that I create and star in and make, there will be a musical element and it will be comedy and it will be TV. That's the whirling thing that is spinning around in my head that I want to make. So I will be able to check off all the boxes. But at the moment, well, this was years ago already, but I was in like our songwriting session and I was like, this isn't. And it's a wonderful thing. I have brilliant songwriter friends. It wasn't the joy for me.
Yeah.
I was like
I had that
banging
with
my
DJing.
head.
I realized I'm like playing other people's music, and I'm producing, but very like irregularly remixes for Ministry and Island Records. Like I'm never going to become a serious producer because I'm not going to sit and learn these programs to the level that I need to. And I'm not making my own music. What am I doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. But also, like, there was a little bit of money.
It's fun and there's money and security,
And then everyone's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And I was like, but it was similar to when I was...
So you can focus on the ones that... You have had periods where you've gone, okay, even though I love this, I do need to, focus on something else.
Yeah, because I noticed. And then I got back in... So then when I stopped really songwriting, I got back into stand-up. And I was doing straight stand-up for a couple years. And it was because I was so sort of like... Thanks, music. I'm going to close the door for a while. And I was doing straight stand-up, and a bunch of my friends were like, why don't you do comedy songs? And I was like, because I don't generally love comedy songs.
Yeah.
I don't love...
Musical comedy gets an applause break at the end of every song, even if it's that funny or not.
Correct.
People are just like, it's like, oh, that was a performance. Yeah. And there you go.
Right. It's definitely, but when it's good...
Oh, amazing!
Right?
Yeah,
but I also agree that like it's not my thing. It's not like I loved musical comedy. I love Flight of the Conchords. I love the Mighty Boosh. Not that they're musical comedians, but those fools
those shows were
sing and it's
fucking classics, cult classics, and
I love Tenacious D and I love Adam Sandler and Bo Burnham, and so there was a lot. I don't know there was that many female musical comedians. Yeah. Sarah Silverman will sing occasionally, but she doesn't. She's brilliant. I don't think she fancies herself a musical comedian. And so when friends of mine that were comics recommended, they were like, why are you not throwing some music in there? I did a little and a little more. And then I kind of became a musical comedian.
Yeah.
And now I very rarely do just straight stand up. I just do musical comedy.
Some songs with funny banter in between.
I do. No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like the idea of doing a mashup show. Mm-hmm. How do you make that happen though? Because it feels like you already have great success in all three areas of, what you love doing, like comedy, music, and dramatic acting as well. You obviously have some heat, which is exciting. It's nice to be, you've got a brand new season of, Glow coming out, etc. Plus all the other things that you do and all the releases you got and the body of work behind you. You're in a great place. You're very, within your own mind and feeling good about and being in your early 30s and, looking great, feeling great, etc., etc. Now's the time to write it, isn't it? And get it made.
And I am so...
Your mother sent me.
Oh, thank you so much.
When are you going to write it,
When are you going to write it? Sure, and I already... I am. So I'm... my writing partner and I were working on a feature, but then we got a development deal to work on a half-hour animated, like 18 to 35.
Okay, yeah.
And so we're writing that now. So we put the feature that no one asked us to write, but we have a great idea based on some stuff I went through. So we're writing the feature, kind of, and we're really focusing on this pilot we're going to write and hopefully make a cartoon. But I also want to, and I'm making an animated preschool musical series with Kristen Bell.
Okay, so you're doing enough.
I'm doing a lot, but also my dream, take care.
I thought this was going to be the moment when you were like, you know what, you're right. I really shouldn't. You're like, no, I'm doing 6 things. Really tired. What time is it? 9 o'clock at night. 9:37, she's here doing a podcast. Poor girl. She just wants to go home and have a fucking sleep. Glenn's already having a nap. He's had enough. He's fucking out. Look at him, pieced out. Licked his own balls and then he's like passed out.
He really is done.
He's done.
But yeah, so I have been focusing on the creative end of it and wanting to make things and be a producer and a writer and sort of be in the things that I'm creating. That's the place I'm getting to right now, which is really cool.
I think they have to just, if you try and have too many plates spinning at the same time. Sure. Yeah, irons in the fire, plates spinning at one time. Invariably, they all sort of either drop off or a couple that would have gone further. That's the biggest lesson I'm learning in my 30s. is to go, okay, I really do need to just focus on this.
Eye on
Even
the
if it's for a couple of
prize.
weeks. 2 weeks, I'm just going to focus on this, writing this thing to get that done.
That's
get
a
that
really
in
good trick.
And then you go, okay, now I'm going to spend like, all right, I want to do some music. I want to do music shit, man. I got friends, so many friends who produce amazing hip hop beats. And I love rapping and I love writing. And I really want to do some weird character rap.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it for a year and a half. Been talking to my buddy Nino. He's been on the podcast a couple of times. And we're going, we've got to do it. We've got to get together. And it's just like, when?
Dude?
When? But you have to go
But
now.
I think what
you have
you're
to go, right,
saying...
2 weeks of this.
But what you're saying makes it
month of
doable, because my cartoon with the preschool show...
That's now, you got to get it written.
But
It's got to be
that's
done,
the thing, is like, these are real deadlines. So...
But when that deadline comes and
Right.
you've handed that shit in,
Right.
next, something else for a month.
But...
Oh.
Right. So the cartoon is for Amazon, and it's coming, and we're making a 52 episode first season.
Amazing. 22-minute episodes.
No, 11. So it's basically these two 11-minute
25.
brother and sister, 26.
Follow,
Yep.
yeah.
So it's like these little 11-minute couples. So it's basically a 26 episode season, but it's 52 separate episodes, and I'm writing.
Can you say what it's about?
Yes, it's these three little birds named Do, Ray, and Me, and it's a very loose musical curriculum, and we're basically, the mission is sort of to bring music and music education to kids, because
it's for kids.
It's
You
for
said that at
babies.
the
It's
beginning.
preschool.
Sorry, okay.
It's for babies because my friends and I have niece and nephews, and we're learning about how music education budgets are like arts and music education budgets are the first things to go in schools.
People still get educated in this country.
No. Of course
that
not.
went out
No,
years ago,
no,
didn't
it was
it?
like 4 or 5 states where,
Yeah.
And so we were like, but what you're saying is terrifying and kind of true. And so we were like, well, we need to make music accessible to children so they can know that they want to make it. If it's not going to be in school and their parents aren't musicians, how are they going to know?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to put music in the hands of everybody.
I love that.
And I play Ray, a little purple hummingbird, and she raps, who cares? And Kristen plays me, and this dude, Luke Youngblood, plays the owl Doe. And it's really...
That's his real name.
Yeah, he's a British dude.
Luke Youngblood.
He's really sweet. He's a British dude, and he was in Harry Potter.
Luke Youngblood.
He's delish.
Okay, I got to look him up. What a ridiculous name.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, I'm not sure if amazing is the right word. That's got to be a fake name, right?
It might
Luke
be.
Youngblood, born Luke Wallace or something like that. Youngblood.
John
wow,
Wallace,
appreciate
even
it.
worse.
Okay. He's known for playing Ben in the story of Tracy Beaker, okay, young Simba, and Lee Jordan. No pictures of him.
What? Google image.
Not on his Wikipedia.
Oh. There's no pictures on Wiki.
Okay, and he's playing Doe.
He's playing Doe, the owl bird, the little green owl bird.
I like that there's
Do, Ray, and Me.
Yeah, there's a couple of girls keeping the boy in check as
Yep.
well. Oh, here we go. Oh, I recognise this guy a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a handsome lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a handsome lad. He is a sweetie cat, too. So
Yeah,
talented. Cool. So anyway, we're making this show, but the schedule's nuts, so...
He's English.
He's British.
He looks so American.
You think?
How long's he been out here for?
I don't know. I never asked him. I should have.
Okay.
But he's been working for a while.
Why don't you ever talk to your co-stars?
God, it's so boring. Honestly, when I stop talking about myself, I completely check out.
Just turn out.
So he is... anyway, so the show is... where my co-songwriter and I have to write... We have to deliver 2 songs a week.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of work.
Yeah, and then we have voice
that
records.
many episodes it's a lot.
It's crazy.
And also, children's books and shows are actually a really fine art. People think they're fucking easy. Just go, the cat says
get out
meow.
of. Well, also
Look
there's
at
like
the
a
map.
psychologists involved and emotional
so much
arcs.
shit. Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's,
yeah.
I mean, you think there's things as grown-ups we can't say in 2019
Yeah.
for fucking get it. Everybody has to win all the time.
All the time.
So there can't be like any competition at any time.
But you just
and
got
it's
to take
like,
class A's and then write it. Because all the best ones, look at the Magic Roundabout.
right.
All of the different characters on a different drug, Sesame Street, all of these are drug, they're all like hippies from the 70s. Most of the ones that we grew up watching that defined our childhoods and people before and after us, the
Cookie
generation
Monsters,
of
are crackheads.
all of that shit. Like,
Right.
look, the what they call the Teletubbies, all of this shit. They're all born out of drugs.
Ours wasn't.
All-
Sadly.
No.
I'm telling you, I created it. It wasn't born out of drugs.
Lies.
I'm way
Don't
too
believe it.
boring.
Don't believe you.
No, listen, I'm on a
Luke-
huge amount of LSD
Luke,
right
I
now.
love crack Youngblood. That's what they call him out there in Hollywood.
He is the sweetest.
Of course he's sweet when he's not on crack. Rest of the time, nightmare.
Can't wait
Sold
for
his mum's TV.
Can't wait for him to hear this. Sold it to me for 50
He
bucks.
sold his mum's TV for
Listen.
$50. You know how much he paid for that?
The mom?
Thousands.
Yeah,
Thousands.
thousands flat screen.
Just had to get another hit, didn't he? That's pretty dope. I like that. That's I think a lot of performers, when they reach a certain level of success in various facets of their life, as a woman who does do a multitude of things with great success, I think there's a point where they do go, I would love to like do some kind of art for kids. Everyone, like all the performers that I really like have written. Predominantly, it's like writing books, a novel series or something for kids. Or
and I think it's why when there was
David Walliams in England, he loves that.
There's a show I love, and I can't remember the name of it. There was like a black dude. He was like the DJ of it. Yo Gabba Gabba. And that was such a great show, but they got the hugest celebrities in the world to go do that because it was this awesome show. By the way, speaking to what you're saying, it was super trippy. Like there were stoners loved it, kids loved it, grown-ups loved it. And like Jack Black would be a musical guest, and it turned into, it was really, really good.
What was it called?
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yo Gabba Gabba. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to find some of that on YouTube.
Oh, you'll love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds fun.
You and all your flour, you'll love it.
I'm going to do some baking afterwards.
Sure.
I couldn't even wink properly. What the fuck happened to my face? I think I just had a mini stroke. Oh.
You did it. I'm proud of you.
Wow. All right. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty exciting.
It is cool.
How do you like to unwind? When you go, all right, enough work, I really am pushing it and I'm going to get either ill or depressed or something. What's your favorite escapism that's maybe not in an altered state, not like I wouldn't mind going and have a little drink or a smoke with my friends. You know?
Well, a couple answers to that question. The first one is I have a hard time sometimes because when I get tired or I get depressed, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. And then there's me outside me going like, you have everything you ever wanted. You better fucking get up off that couch and go make something else.
Yeah.
And so, and you're in a run of your career right now, right?
Yeah, push your parents.
No, believe it or not. I mean, loud New York Jew parents, but they weren't like, do this, do that. They were very much, my career was my choice. My brothers are like athletes, and there was no one that was trying to be like, let's make an actress child and put her in. Like, I begged until I was like 10 or 11, and finally they were like, okay, we'll relent. I had so much energy. I was such a crazy little kid.
Where does that come from then? This
My mom is super funny, and my dad is a musician.
Oh, no, I mean, where does it come from, the feeling that if you're not always working and always grateful for everything that's going on around you, that you're not achieving, so you have to make yourself work more even when you maybe just need a day of step away?
That's such a good question. I'm going to talk to my shrink about it. No, I'm dead. I'm not even joking. I was like, that's a really good one. I'm going to write it down. I don't. And in fact, when I'm in therapy, she's always asking these profound questions, and I hit a wall constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand. I'm
Probably
talking
an
to
uncle
friends.
You forgot it.
Fuck you.
Probably
I don't think so. I got very kind uncles. Barely ever saw them.
Grandfather?
Maybe. Probably. No, I didn't have any grandpas either. They were dead. From the grave.
Why are they dead?
From the grave.
Did your dad murder one of them because he walked in?
Wow, now I remember. No.
Okay.
So, I remember that didn't happen now.
I remember that I definitely didn't have a childhood abuse story.
That's right, when that didn't happen.
All right.
Speaking of, I mean, it's a whole other...
Don't make it serious.
Okay,
I was just joking.
All right.
Clearly
I'm
just
saying,
joking.
I feel like
if you make it serious now, I'm going to look like a piece of shit for even joking about a concept like child abuse.
I feel like I am one of the only women I know that doesn't have one of these fucking
weird
nightmare.
Nasties. With men as a grown woman?
Or as a kid.
That's great.
But as a kid, or as a teenager.
Hopefully that might be... A lot of people don't have those kind of experiences.
I don't know, with all these stories coming out. I feel like...
Actually, you know what? We discussed this on a previous podcast, that I have gone through life assuming just because I don't assault women and that I treat women in a certain way, that most guys do. And I think in Europe, maybe I'm more right than out here, but I just was always like, yeah, all of this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm an ally of any movement that stops guys raping women. Mm-hmm. But I also think there's shades of grey to different stories. I think there's also, for every 10 million women who have been assaulted, there might be one liar. Maybe one liar,
Of course.
We've got to be wary of that. And then I'm looking at all of this and I'm going... But just because I think that that's how...
You are.
I am. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean... And I've realised over time that actually, yes, it's pretty frequent. A lot of my ex-lovers have told me about being assaulted.
That's what I'm saying. And I have like a ton of female friends, and everybody has some gnarly fucking story. I mean, varying degrees.
Well, I'm glad you don't, by the way.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Jesus Christ, thank you.
Or it's so regressed in your memories, you blocked it out because, and that's why you never let yourself just rest.
And that's why my grandpas are dead. So the answer to that other question before all the child abuse stuff is that I don't really rest, but when I do, the way that I rest isn't even restful because I'll just like check out and go on my phone. And we talked about this earlier.
Misery-inducing.
It's misery-inducing. And I felt like when I used to go on Instagram and I wasn't really working as an actor and I didn't have these, what I deemed at the time, really fulfilling career things going on, I would go on and I would have such compared despair. I would just be like, oh God, I want all these things. I have none of them.
Yeah.
Except what's
Especially
crazy.
if you're the kind of person who surrounds himself with talented, great people.
Of course.
Which
who
I'm
you'd
assuming
love
you
to
are,
like.
and sometimes it can be hard logging on and going, wow. Feels like everyone's doing something
killing
right
it.
now.
But here's the thing. But here's what's crazy. No, the opposite of that. So I thought that would go away. Like now and go on and it feels the exact same.
Yeah.
It feels the exact same. Like she's young.
Set different...
She's young. She's thin. Her lips are big. Her tits are beautiful. She's it's all this like comparing myself to just like, not that I think poorly about myself.
Is that the Hollywood mentality?
I don't know.
Is that
I just think it's like having been
an
an actress since I'm 10 years old. You're in a room with 20 girls and you're like sizing people up, not even in a negative way. You're just like,
thing. I sit in a room in a waiting room. And
what's she doing?
The guy
what's he
comes out
doing?
before me, or the one who arrives as I'm leaving. You'd be like, oh shit, he's got a better body than me, and he's
right. But then you go in and that's not what they're looking for, and what they're looking for was you, and sometimes it's not. Anyway, I think all of this stuff fosters
It's never me. It's Henry Cavill.
But always Henry Cavill. Poor him. He didn't get the job a lot of the time. I heard. Okay. Point is, I think that the compare and despair stuff, if that's in you, that's in you. You could be
you can
Kate
train
Blanchett.
that out, though. You can train that out.
I think I need to, but for me, I think a big fix is just, using my phone less, limiting screen time, just being on social media less. It doesn't really give me joy.
I think this is true across the board. This is not just actors and comedians. I hasten to add for like the listeners, and I've talked about this, about mental health quite a lot on the podcast anyway, because I suffer from depression quite
me too.
seriously. And that's one of the reasons that I'm in LA as well, because I knew that sunshine alleviated about 60% of it, and then the rest can be done through a lot of hard work. But I feel like we are trained to be desperate for these little minuscule hits of dopamine. And if we're not getting them, or if our lives don't compare, or if we're not, thin enough or cool enough or at the best thing, that we just feel ultimately just very shit about ourselves like a lot of the time. That's like now a global thing. So people
with everybody taking
like
pictures of
themselves all the time. But then behind closed doors, they're just desperately like feeling the desperate sense of worthlessness.
Well, what's crazy that you're saying that is I will feel sometimes so bad about something. I'll be depressed, feel bad about myself. Sure. It's been a funny year of learning things about myself and randomly learning about people I used to date and then just finding out now, just weird things. And I'll just,
obviously as well.
Of course, that's why he's dead. And then just be so down and then post a picture on Instagram because it'll be Thursday of some rad event. And then everyone's like, and then I'll get texts from personal friends that are like,
jealous.
I'm so happy for you. I've never seen you this happy. I've never seen you look this happy. This is so incredible. And it's like is dichotomy the right word? Yeah, like the duality between the juxtaposition between how I feel and how it looks like I feel. Yeah. Yet, and the end of the statement is I look at other people's pages and I still think, look at them.
Yeah,
look at them in the light. When meanwhile, 5 seconds prior, I knew how I felt.
So how do you change that? By being more honest? With your use of social media, or like you can still
question.
You can still share a photo of you on the red carpet at an event celebrating the
I sometimes
new season
do.
of the TV show you're doing, and go, hey, this was fucking awesome, and love to be around this. And you know what? Just to think, I still have my low days and feel blah blah blah, but just celebrate the good ones, because Sometimes
that is what I generally do. Like I'll say, I posted, I was like super depressed actually a couple months ago before the end of the year.
For every 5 red carpet pics, you have to post one of you crying and
Weeping.
eating a burger, drunk on the
Covered
toilet.
in snot.
Just like fucking
Just
mustard. on your
David
chin.
Hasselhoffing in fetal
exactly.
position, calling my daughters bitches. I feel like wait, I was gonna tell you something. What was it? Oh, I did actually do that because I was in a pretty low and I like wrote that. But then then it's like, call a friend. I need these however many thousand people on Instagram to be like, you're amazing, you inspire. Like it does sort of lift you up in a
We
way.
discussed that before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm now understanding that I've spent the entirety of the last 10 years being so overtly forthcoming with my personal feelings about the world, because I think it builds empathy between humans and it can really build a good fan base. That's why we have so many listeners. But I also know that for the industry, they'll go like, keep some of your personal shit personal.
Right.
And shut the fuck up.
But that's different though. But that's different
what I
though.
mean?
But that's a very different thing for comics and actors.
But then if you're both, which we are,
of
then
course.
it's very
Because for actors, it's like, stop it, quiet, just show up on the carpet
Smile,
and look
look
pretty.
good.
Yep. And then for comics, it's like if you don't say every little thing, your premises are shallow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's challenging.
And I've been feeling that a lot lately. That they want you to do.
And you're like, I can't
both,
say anything anymore.
but I have to say everything, otherwise I'm not a real comic. Struggling with that.
I know, it's a challenge.
I thought America was the place where I didn't have to worry about that. I really thought out here in England, you're very much told to be one thing.
You know what?
What are you? I heard this more times than I can care to imagine over the course of my career in England. Even when I was on TV doing lots of shows or when I was acting in films. What are you? What are you? I mean, what are you? You're hosting TV shows and you're playing music, DJing, and you're an actor and you're a comedian. Like you have to pick one. You have to
pick a lane.
And I'm like, motherfucker, I just want to create great stuff and make people happy in different ways by telling them a story and making them sad sometimes so they think about the world, or making them laugh on stage, or fucking making them want to take Molly and dance until 7 a.m.
100%.
Like, and that's okay.
And that's how I felt.
That's not what they want. That's not what they want.
My whole life, it's been like, well, which one do you want to do? But I do think, speaking to what you said earlier, which I'm really now getting hyper interested, thinking about it a lot, is this idea, because I have trouble focusing and on one thing. So like when I'm working on something, I can do it, but I'm multitasking all the time and working on all my projects, which is cool.
Do you have OCD as well?
I probably have a skosh of it and ADHD. I mean, I never got diagnosed.
Bless you.
Thank you. I never got diagnosed because I don't want to be medicated for any of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, now I just have this information, and I guess it's powerful to have it, but
That's interesting. I've never taken medication either.
Yeah,
It's very un-American of you.
I'm just like, I don't myself. I think it's great, but if I find
you can
out
do the work
if someone's
naturally
like, you need Adderall,
Yeah.
I just don't. Then I have enough shit without going in a doctor telling me that I have a clinical thing where something's really wrong with me and we need to medicate our children. For me, that's not the angle, but I also do understand there are definitely
There's
it's a
varying
spectrum.
levels. There's a
There are
spectrum.
people who need it, and then there are people who like take it because it like gives them a boost.
I've never taken medication for depression, but I have friends who regularly throughout the week would try to kill themselves. And for those people, I'm like, okay, they probably need some medication
100%.
to help balance themselves until they can do the work. Whereas, I could tell.
Years ago, I took Zoloft.
Fuck you up. That's like heroin, man. That shit.
No, are you thinking Xanax?
Oh, Xanax, yeah.
Yeah, no, Zoloft is...
That's what soccer mums take.
Yeah, Xanax.
Oh.
No, Xanax is just like a chill pill, but Zoloft is like a Wellbutrin. It's like an antidepressant.
Oh, okay.
But that was... It doesn't fuck you up at all. It actually...
Doesn't it numb you a bit?
It doesn't actually numb you. No, that's what's amazing. So I thought, like, because I'm a crazy person and a live wire, and I was like, my highs are so high because my lows are low. And if the line is here and I go this low, then I can go that. Like, this was this whole thought I had about being this dramatic artist. And then all that happened when I went on Zoloft was that my lows didn't go as deep and my highs went just as high.
Oh, really?
And that's literally
That sounds great. I just thought I was an emo for the first 32 years of my life.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh no, maybe I just got like some chemical imbalance in my fucking brain.
I do for sure.
But yeah.
And as I get older, I really recognize it. Like I'll go in it and go like, oh, okay, Well, let me try and self-care and be there for myself right now because
checklist. Literally now, a checklist, a self-applied checklist. Same thing.
And the first thing is exercise.
I feel shitty. I'm clearly feeling depressed. I've been in it 2 days. Depression. Haven't worked out for a week. Go and work out, feel instantly better. Or haven't been eating properly. Or I drank the last 2-3 nights. Like, of course I feel like a bit shitty. Like, yeah, it's amazing. You just
I think checking in with ourselves and like self-awareness and self-care, I mean, they're such overused, such douchey terms at this point, but it is true. And I think for myself a lot, it's funny what the crappy thing is that when I take, like if I'm freaking out and I take like, let's say, and I'm going to have a panic attack or something and I do take Xanax, it works.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
and I see other friends who suffer with stuff on social media being like, hey, anybody know any good anti-anxiety stuff other than Xanax? Because it's really hard when there is a thing available to just like, well, why wouldn't I just do that? But I don't want to. And I know it'll make me feel better. But so instead I just sit in the thing because I don't want to, develop a dependency on anything.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's the right way, but it has to be the right way for you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people, like we say, that just simply wouldn't work for.
Right.
I don't want anyone who's listening, because I know I've got quite a few.
Me too. And I was
Why
on Zoloft.
Why are you trying to kill my listeners?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Jackie? It's ridiculous.
That's you. I was the one who was medicated. I was on Zoloft for like 6 or 7 years, and then I guess it does this. It plateaued, and it like wasn't doing its thing anymore after 7 years.
Do you find as you
I just went off it.
More successful as well, do you get more people reach out to you about personal things like that?
Yes.
Because they feel like they know you, because they've seen you on screen.
I like not in a forced way, but if something I say in some way makes
someone feel a little less
alone. I
alone.
was talking on my friend has a podcast, it's a beauty podcast actually, but she's a friend, and so we got fucking deep, and she's huge and takes up all the space in the room, and I tend to do that similarly. And we got into this deep conversation about like just being too much in your entire life, just feeling like having to dial it in and turn off a little bit of the light so everybody else could digest it, and it was this whole thing. And then we were insecure afterwards, and we were like, were we just talking about how shiny and great we are, and then that's hard, like were we dicks? And we got so much. That's the most I've ever been reached out to.
Really?
By strangers that were just like, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because I'm super hyper and I feel like I lose friends over it, and people always think I'm making things about me, but really it's what's going on inside of me, and I just talk a lot, and I got to, everyone's different. This is the only
episode of the podcast where people will actually get to listen to the guests, because I have a terrible, what's it called? A terrible habit, which I've been trying to break over 80, this will be the 82nd episode, which is interrupting a lot and
That's
talking
hard.
too much, and I'm really desperately
trying.
But
here's the thing. You're doing great, but here's the thing. As comics,
but today
that's what it is. It's bits. We're always interrupting each other.
Yeah, and sometimes I can be a bit much. Like I had to...
On a podcast, it's unbearable.
Yeah.
On a podcast, it's unbearable. When hosts interrupt, it's the worst, because we hear you all the time.
Yeah.
And then now you finally have a guest here. I think if I had a podcast, it would be the first year would be me learning to shut the fuck up. But
you could also do it as yourself. I think people also love to, they do love to tune in for the voice of the person that is their,
of course,
their host, their reason for tuning in the first place.
100%.
And I know that when I've done solo episodes, they really love that. But I don't enjoy it. I love having a conversation because I learn something every time I talk to people.
100%. I'm the same.
Also, given the state of work, how much work there is going on, how many things, how I'm being pulled in different ways, I find this is one of the only places I get to know comics and actors that I like a little bit better.
Yep.
Everyone's friends. Oh yeah, we're friends.
Also,
we never hung out socially except with our mutual friend once or twice. And it's that's true of a lot of my comic mates. They're my good friends, but I'm like, I only ever really see them in class.
I never knew that.
Or maybe
also
a birthday,
they're saying
maybe
shit.
a birthday.
And you're like, I never knew that. I think also I think when I'm doing podcasts, it's a rare hour or two where I'm not on my phone.
Yeah.
And you really are...
My last Friday, I put my phone down. I told you about my special day, which I'm not going to talk about. But I had a very special day, and it made me feel really nice. And I've mildly validated that it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. But on that day, because I was riding motorbikes for the majority of it anyway, didn't look at my phone for about 11 hours. I was at 89% battery at the end of the day when I looked at my phone. And I felt so fucking elated.
Fucking good, 100%.
Because it hadn't been taking out of me all the way throughout the day. I'd actually been just spent the whole day being filled with positive vibes and
connection.
good advice and human connection and feeling a little bit cool. And it was like great. It was a great feeling at the end of the day. And I hadn't been just giving out to a shitty comment or a mean
100%.
tweet or a fucking text
or the news
thread,
for 5 seconds.
or looking at friends doing amazing shit and feeling happy for them but deeply sad that I'm not at that stage. And blah, 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 blah. Didn't have any of that. It was incredible. Oh my God. Once a week, we should have there should be a day where you have to leave your phone.
It's kind of what Sunday is supposed to be. So say the Lord or whatever. But I don't know about any of that.
Or Saturdays if you're a good Jew.
I'm not,
You're a terrible Jew.
We've been very clear about that. I'm not.
You're a good representation, though. Yeah. Well, we've done an hour and 15. We talked a little longer than normal.
Look at us. Let's shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we will wrap it up there. Maybe one day in the future when things calm down a little bit, we'll have you on again. We're going to talk about some other stuff.
I would love it.
It's a good chat. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out Jackie Tohn, she's doing everything and everything. Everything and anything. Not that sounds like you're just picking shit out the air. Everything incredibly. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, so across
Follow
the
me on
board,
Instagram.
live performance, music, obviously, and her acting. So she's got a brand new series of Glow, which is coming on August the 5th, correct?
9th.
August the 9th. And if people want to find out where you're performing live, or if they want to come and maybe see a live musical performance, if you're doing any of those coming up after you finish recording the new stuff.
Follow me on Instagram. That's where I post most things at Jackie Tohn, JACKIETOHN.
There you go. And that's the best way to find her. And then a website as well, maybe that
it's JackieTohn.com, but I think mostly I just
needs
use...
an update.
It needs an update. I mostly just post on Insta.
These days, it's just literally hops from one social media platform to the next. And just
There's no reason to even...
That's the way to do it. Make sure you
I can't remember the last time I went to anything.com other than like to get flights.
Pornhub.com.
Well, I mean anyhumanbeing.com. Was I like
yeah.
JimCarrey.com?
Actually, the only humanbeing.com will be my own one, just to be like, oh shit, I haven't done live dates and I've got to. That's the only one.
Right.
And then no one gives a fuck.
I don't even go to mine.
It's true.
Just post it on your Insta.
Make sure you follow her though, Jackie Tohn, and thank you very much for joining me.
You.
I appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck with season 3.
I wish you the best of luck with life.
Thank you. Bye.
Savage.